My mother's father started one construction company, and two of my uncles started others. I was always around people who were building driveways, sidewalks, patios, and other projects. It all drew me to construction. I also had an aptitude for math, so engineering was a natural choice.
Paul Yarossi was born to be an engineer. He graduated from Manhattan College in New York in 1973 with a degree in civil engineering and went right to work for HNTB, one of America's top engineering, architecture, and construction management firms. He began with basic engineering work on water infrastructure projects. He went on to manage major road and bridge projects as officer in charge of HNTB offices in New York and New Jersey, and he chaired the firm's aviation services practice. Over time, he became known as a problem solver. Today, he is the president of HNTB Holdings and serves on the board of directors and executive committee of the HNTB companies.
An engineer designs something, it gets built, you can see it. And there's great satisfaction in seeing a finished product. There's a huge amount of personal pride when you put something up and people start talking about, wow, this really works.
To truly know Paul Yarossi, however, you have to look beyond the engineering blueprints. His Italian heritage explains his complete devotion to his family.
Coming from the roots I came from, family is really everything. If you have nothing, you always have family. And that's really the key. So being together is really what's most important to me, family.
Paul is a lifelong fan of the three-time Super Bowl champion New England Patriots, which helps explain his competitive spirit and drive to win. His colleagues can also attest to his integrity, character, and commitment to his clients.
I guess the first thing I would say about Paul is that he is a very easy person to underestimate. He's quiet, but he keeps coming, and he's a stayer.
Well, when I think about Paul Yarossi, I think of a genuine person, a very approachable, personable person, a leader that transcends the traditional leadership characteristics we expect.
I've worked with Paul for probably 25 years, starting in our New York office many years ago, and when given a challenge would execute with remarkable speed and accuracy. He was not afraid to make a decision and move ahead.
Now Paul tackles a new challenge as he becomes the 2011-2012 ARTBA chairman. Paul believes in giving back to an industry that has given him so much. His leadership activities extend beyond his company to national business groups and associations.
We know Paul Yarossi very well. He's worked with us on some of the public policy arguments that we've had over time on these issues and that we're structuring now to expand and to increase in volume.
Paul's impressive roster of ARTBA service during the past decade includes Senior Vice Chairman, First Vice Chairman, Vice Chairman at Large, Chairman of the Transportation Design and Construction Innovation Advisory Committee, and Co-Chairman of the ARTBA Safety Lou Reauthorization Task Force.
Well, he's called upon by many organizations to help support and serve the interests of the industry, testifying before the U.S. House Subcommittee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Highways, and Transit.
In an industry experiencing major change, Paul sees around the curve and understands the key issues facing transportation design and construction professionals. As ARTBA chairman, his agenda for the year ahead is clear.
My top goal as chairman is going to be to push to get a robust highway and transit bill. A robust highway and transit bill that includes adequate funding for us to move the program forward, not just to maintain, and to get the conditions in the bill that allow our members to perform at peak. If we only get a 2-year bill, then as chairman, I'm going to immediately start preparing for the future. We'll put a task force together the way we did it for reauthorization a few years ago, and we'll move forward with putting our thoughts out to the public as soon as we can. I have chaired the Innovation Advisory Committee this past year, culminating with the Transovation Conference, which was just done a couple weeks ago. I intend to remain heavily involved with the Innovation Committee at ARTBA. I think this is really important to change the image of how the public sees our industry. I think if we change the image of how the public sees our industry, if we can encourage more young people through innovation to continue to join the industry, then we'll see our ability to get the types of funding and policies we need much easier. I had the opportunity to speak to the Young Executive Development Program class last year, and I was so impressed with what I saw. I think too, how we do training, how others do training. Training is not an event. Training is a continuing program. I would recommend that we stay in touch with each class, that we provide webinars, some other social media type of communication that keeps them involved, keeps them with each other. What that will do is we'll build a cadre, and we all know that we build things together, that we come from diverse industries, if you will, all contributing into producing a transportation program. And if we can keep this young group together, we'll develop a future workforce that will certainly be instrumental in rebuilding the United States.
National politics, much like professional football, is a contact sport. When it comes to the pending Federal Highway and Transit Bill, Paul Yarossi believes our industry can still have a big impact on the final outcome of the game.
What I hear a lot from my friends, my son's friends, people in the industry, is that they're resigned to what we're going to get, that they're giving up hope of getting anything better. And what that reminds me of is the Buffalo Bills-Houston Oilers playoff game a number of years ago, where Frank Wright came in 35-3 at halftime and was able to take Buffalo to a 41-38 victory. I think that we're in that position right now. We can't give up. We can never give up. If we get a 2-year bill, we can't give up. If we have a continuing resolution, we can't give up. What we need to do is to just keep moving forward, scratching for everything we can get until we get what we want.
A seasoned industry leader, a family man, a problem-solving executive. Paul Yarossi, your 2011-2012 ARTBA Chairman.